Oak Haven was a quiet town, one of those places where everyone knew each other, and the days seemed to drift by in gentle routine. But when nightfall crept in, everything changed. As the sun dipped below the horizon, a hush swept over the streets, settling like a blanket over the town. The reason was always the same: Blackwood Park, a place that held secrets in its shadows. By day, Blackwood Park was a cheerful playground, echoing with laughter and the squeak of swings. Children raced across the grass, their voices bright and carefree, never suspecting what the night would bring. But as dusk deepened, the stories began to stir. Kids whispered about swings that moved on their own, creaking back and forth even when the wind was still. Some swore they heard faint giggles coming from the empty sandbox, as if invisible children were still playing long after everyone else had gone home. Others claimed to see quick, darting shadows weaving between the monkey bars, vanishing before you could look twice. The bravest kids would dare each other to get closer, but none stayed long. Parents brushed it all off as nonsense, but every child in Oak Haven felt a chill at the park's iron gates, especially when the mist rolled in and the air grew thick with secrets. The legend said a strange circus once visited Oak Haven, pitching its tent right beside the playground. When the circus left, it was as if it took the joy with it, leaving behind a sadness that haunted the park ever since. The rule was simple: play all you want by day, but when the streetlights flickered on, you ran home as fast as you could. No one ever looked back, not even once, for fear of what might be following. No one dared enter Blackwood Park after dark. Well, almost no one. There were always a few who wondered if the stories were true. The tales made sleepovers extra scary. Kids would huddle under blankets, flashlights in hand, daring each other to repeat the stories and swearing they'd never set foot in the park at night. As darkness swallowed the playground, its cheerful colors faded into deep, shifting shadows. The air grew cold and heavy, as if the park itself was holding its breath, waiting. The legend lingered, passed down from one generation to the next. A warning, a mystery, and a challenge all at once. Parents told the stories at bedtime, half smiling, half worried. By day, the park was alive with laughter and sunlight, but after dusk it belonged to the whispers, the secrets only the night could tell. And sometimes the bravest, or perhaps the most foolish, kids would find themselves staring out their windows after midnight, wondering what really happened when the world was asleep. One night, curiosity proved stronger than fear. Someone decided to find out what secrets Blackwood Park kept hidden in the dark. Leo Martinez wasn't like the other kids. He was curious, not scared. While most children shied away from the unknown, Leo was drawn to it, always eager to discover what others avoided. He had a knack for asking questions that made adults pause, and his friends often called him the brave one, though Leo never thought of himself that way. When others ran from a spider, Leo leaned in closer, fascinated by the tiny creature's movements. He wanted to know how it spun its web, what it ate, and why it chose the darkest corners of the house. Fear, to Leo, was just another mystery waiting to be solved. The stories about Blackwood Park fascinated him. Tales of shadows moving at midnight and swings that creaked on their own filled his imagination, not with dread, but with excitement. He devoured every rumor, every whispered legend, as if they were clues in a grand adventure. It started as a dare: spend 5 minutes in the park after midnight. The challenge was simple, but the stakes felt enormous. Blackwood Park was the one place everyone avoided after dark, and the idea of going there alone sent chills down even the bravest spines. Sam, his best friend, bet him a month's allowance he wouldn't do it. The bet was made in whispers, under the covers, as if the darkness might overhear and make it real. Leo could see the doubt in Sam's eyes, and that only made him more determined. Leo's pride wouldn't let him back down. He felt a surge of determination. This was his chance to prove something, not just to Sam, but to himself. He wanted to show that curiosity could be stronger than fear. That night, he waited for his parents to fall asleep, grabbed his flashlight, and crept out. Every sound in the house seemed louder than usual, every shadow deeper, but Leo moved with purpose, heart pounding with anticipation. His heart pounded as he slipped into the cool night air. The world outside felt different, quieter, more mysterious. The grass was damp beneath his feet, and his breath hung in the air like a ghostly mist. He could have lied to Sam, but he needed to know the truth for himself. Was Blackwood Park really haunted, or was it just another story? Leo wanted answers, and he was willing to face the darkness to find them. The moon was bright, the streets empty. Every house was silent, windows dark, as if the whole neighborhood was holding its breath, waiting to see what Leo would do next. Every step toward the park felt heavier. The closer he got, the more the stories replayed in his mind, each one more vivid than the last. But Leo pressed on, determined not to let his imagination win. He skipped the creaky stair, tiptoed past his family, and slipped out the back door. The night seemed to close in around him, but Leo kept moving, guided by the beam of his flashlight and the promise of discovery. The dare echoed in his mind. It was about more than money now. It was about courage, about facing the unknown, and about proving to himself that he could do what others only talked about. It was about proving he wasn't afraid. As he reached the edge of Blackwood Park, Leo took a deep breath, ready to step into the darkness and discover what waited for him there. The walk to Blackwood Park felt endless. Every sound in the darkness made Leo's skin crawl. The iron gates loomed ahead, chained and padlocked, warning all to stay away. Fog curled around the fence, making the playground equipment look monstrous. A swing creaked in the still air. No wind, just the sound. Leo's curiosity pushed him forward. He found the gap in the fence he and Sam had discovered, now tangled with thorny vines. He squeezed through, heart racing. Inside, the air was colder, heavier. The fog muffled everything except the swing's persistent creak. Leo stood still, flashlight in hand, feeling the world outside disappear. He was inside Blackwood Park after midnight. The stories were real, at least the fear was. Now he just had to last 5 minutes and hope the ghosts were only stories. Leo's flashlight found the swings, 3 still, 1 moving. The 4th swing creaked back and forth higher with each arc. No wind, no explanation. Leo stepped closer, gravel crunching underfoot. The swing stopped abruptly, as if its invisible rider had jumped off. Silence pressed in, heavier than before. Then a new sound, a metallic scrape from the merry-go-round. Leo's fear grew, but so did his need to see. He turned his light toward the noise, every muscle tense. The playground felt alive, watching him. He wanted to run, but curiosity rooted him in place. The swing's movement, the sudden stop, it was all too real. The scrape grew louder, echoing through the fog. Leo's breath caught as he realized the ghosts weren't done yet. He was in their playground now, and they wanted to play. Leo's flashlight swept across the foggy playground. The merry-go-round spun slowly, groaning with each turn. No one was there, but it moved anyway. A cold wind whipped past, carrying faint whispers. Voices, children's voices, giggled and called out just out of reach. Leo spun around searching for the source, but the whispers came from everywhere. "Can't catch me," one giggled. "Over here," another teased. The wind grew colder, the voices clearer. Shadows seemed to shift as if someone was hiding in every corner. The whispers grew urgent. "He's here, let's play." Leo stumbled, tripping over a root, his flashlight skittering away. He was alone in the dark, surrounded by voices. The playground was alive with secrets. And the ghosts knew he was there. The game had begun. Leo scrambled for his flashlight, hands shaking. The beam flickered over the playground, landing on the slide. For a split second he saw a shadowy child at the top. He blinked. The figure was gone. Then came the sound. Shoes scraping on plastic, a giggle echoing down the slide. Something was coming down, unseen but unmistakable. The giggle grew louder, then stopped. Silence. Leo edged closer, peering into the slide's dark mouth. Nothing, just an empty tunnel. But he'd heard it, clear as day. A cold spot formed behind him, icy breath on his neck. He froze, heart pounding. The playground's shadows pressed closer. He wasn't alone. A whisper brushed Leo's ear. "Tag!" He spun around, nothing but fog. Then, ghostly children appeared on the monkey bars, their forms shimmering like mist. They laughed, their eyes sad and longing. One girl floated toward him, hand outstretched. "You're it!" Leo's fear mixed with pity. These weren't monsters, just lonely kids. More ghosts gathered, circling him. "We just want to play," a boy whispered. Leo wanted to run, but their eyes pleaded for a friend. "Just one more game?" the girl asked. Curiosity flickered in Leo's chest. "What secret?" he whispered. The ghost smiled, drifting toward the sandbox. Leo followed, drawn by their promise. The playground secret was waiting, and Leo was about to discover it. The ghostly children gathered around the sandbox, urging Leo to dig. "Our treasure's here," one whispered. Leo knelt, scooping cold sand aside. His fingers struck something hard. A small, wooden box. The ghosts watched, anticipation shimmering in their eyes. Leo lifted the box, its brass latch rusty. He opened it, heart pounding. Inside were old photographs, children laughing on the merry-go-round, playing in the sandbox. He recognized the faces, the ghostly kids alive and happy. In one photo, a tall man in a top hat stood behind them, smiling coldly. The ringmaster from the legend. The truth hit Leo. The circus hadn't just left sadness, it had trapped the children's laughter, and the children themselves. The playground secret was a memory, locked away in the sand, and the ghosts wanted someone to remember. Suddenly, a cruel, chilling laughter echoed through the park, slicing through the thick fog and making the shadows dance. It was a sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once, bouncing off the rusted swings and empty slides. The ghostly children flickered, their forms growing faint and transparent until they vanished completely, leaving only the memory of their laughter behind. The playground felt emptier than ever, as if the very air had been drained of warmth. The merry-go-round spun wildly on its own, creaking and groaning, while the swings soared back and forth as if pushed by invisible hands. The old metal slide rattled, shivering in the night air, as if something unseen was racing down its length. Heart pounding, Leo dropped the photos he'd clutched so tightly, scattering them across the cold ground. He ran, stumbling over roots and broken toys, chased by the ringmaster's booming, relentless laugh that seemed to grow louder with every step. He squeezed through the jagged fence, feeling his shirt tear as he forced his way out. He didn't dare look back, sprinting down the deserted street, breathless and terrified, not stopping until the familiar lights of home finally came into view. The next day, Leo handed Sam the envelope, his hands trembling. He forced a smile and claimed his prize, but his eyes darted nervously, haunted by what he'd seen. He never told Sam the truth about what happened in the park that night. From that moment on, Leo never saw Blackwood Park the same way again. The playground, once a place of laughter and games, now seemed haunted by shadows and secrets only he could sense. Sometimes, late at night when the wind howls through the trees, Leo sits by his window and listens. He hears faint laughter drifting on the breeze, a sound that chills him to the bone. It's not the giggles of children at play, but the echo of the ringmaster's sinister laugh, lingering long after midnight. Sometimes Leo wonders if the playground is just a toy for the ghostly ringmaster who still wanders the night, searching for new friends to join his eternal game. The legend of Blackwood Park lives on, whispered in the dark by children daring each other to visit after sunset, their voices trembling with fear and excitement. And Leo knows, some secrets are better left buried, hidden deep in the shadows where the laughter can't reach. The park waits, silent and cold, shrouded in mist, for the next curious soul brave, or foolish, enough to play its game. The laughter never really leaves. It lingers in the corners, in the rusted chains and creaking rides, waiting for someone to listen, and the game never truly ends. Each night, the playground resets, ready for the next story, the next secret, the next laugh. Blackwood Park keeps its secrets, until someone dares to play after midnight, and the laughter begins again.